Welcome to Rare Coins Value, ladies and gentlemen. The 1965 5-cent coin of the United States, commonly known as the Jefferson Nickel, holds a special place in American numismatic history because it was struck during a very important transitional period in U.S. coinage. In 1965, the United States was facing a severe coin shortage caused by rising silver prices and hoarding of silver coins by the public. As a result, the U.S. government decided to remove silver from dimes and quarters starting that year. However, the 5-cent coin was already made without silver, which allowed its production to continue without major composition changes. The 1965 nickel therefore represents stability during a time of major monetary reform, making it historically meaningful even though it is not extremely rare. This coin features the famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, a design that had been in use since 1938. Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, is shown facing left, symbolizing intellect, democracy, and the foundation of American liberty. The "In God We Trust" appears to the left of Jefferson's portrait, while the word liberty and the date 1965 are placed to the right. The design is simple yet dignified, reflecting the classical style chosen to honor Jefferson's importance in American history. By 1965, this portrait had become one of the most recognizable images in U.S. coinage. The reverse side of the 1965 5-cent coin displays Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's historic Virginia home and plantation. Monticello is more than just a building. It represents Jefferson's architectural genius, his intellectual pursuits, and his vision of an enlightened republic. Above the image appears the word Monticello, while e pluribus unum is inscribed above it, meaning, out of many, one, a phrase symbolizing the unity of the American states. The denomination, 5 cents, is boldly written below Monticello, and the country name, United States of America, encircles the lower portion of the design. The detailed depiction of Monticello gives the coin a strong historical and cultural identity. In terms of composition, the 1965 5-cent coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives the coin its familiar silver-like appearance while remaining durable and resistant to wear. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.21 millimeters, with a plain, smooth edge. These specifications were standard for Jefferson nickels and ensured consistency in circulation and vending machine use. Because it contains no precious metal, the coin's value is not tied to bullion prices, unlike earlier silver coins. The 1965 Jefferson nickel was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. During this period, mint marks were temporarily removed from U.S. coins from 1965 to 1967 as part of an effort to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on mint locations. As a result, the 1965 5-cent coin does not carry a mint mark, even though it was struck in Philadelphia. Millions of these coins were produced, making them very common in circulation at the time and still relatively easy to find today. From a collector's perspective, the 1965 5-cent coin is generally considered common, especially in circulated condition. Most examples are worth close to their face value. However, coins found in uncirculated or mint-state condition, especially those with strong luster and sharp details, can carry a slightly higher premium. Additionally, coins with rare minting errors, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or planchette errors, may be valuable and highly sought after by collectors. Proof versions of the 1965 nickel do not exist, as the U.S. Mint suspended proof coin production that year due to the coin shortage. In historical terms, the 1965 5-cent coin reflects a key moment when the United States adjusted its monetary system to economic pressures while maintaining public trust in everyday currency. Although it may not be rare or highly valuable, it represents continuity, resilience, and the practical side of American coinage. For collectors, historians, and coin enthusiasts, the 1965 Jefferson nickel serves as a reminder of how even ordinary coins can carry deep historical significance tied to national policy, leadership, and daily life. The story of the 1965 5-cent coin becomes even more interesting when we look at its role in everyday American life during the mid-1960s. This was a time of social change, economic pressure, and rapid modernization in the United States. While paper money handled larger transactions, Coins like the 5-cent piece were essential for daily activities such as public transportation, phone booths, vending machines, and small retail purchases. The Jefferson nickel of 1965 quietly circulated through millions of hands, becoming a witness to ordinary moments of life during an extraordinary decade marked by civil rights movements, the space race, and global political tensions. Another important aspect of the 1965 5-cent coin is its durability. The copper-nickel alloy used in its composition was chosen not only for cost efficiency but also for its resistance to corrosion and wear. This is why many 1965 nickels still survive today in relatively decent condition despite decades of circulation. Compared to softer metals, this alloy allowed the coin to retain its details longer, especially on Jefferson's hair and the steps of Monticello. Collectors often examine the sharpness of these features to judge a coin's condition and quality. For advanced collectors, one of the most desirable features to look for on a 1965 Jefferson nickel is the clarity of Monticello's steps on the reverse. Although the full steps designation became more formally recognized later, coins from earlier years that show strong step detail are still admired. A well-struck 1965 nickel with clear steps, minimal marks, and bright luster can stand out among ordinary examples and attract collector interest, even if its overall market value remains modest. The absence of a mint mark on the 1965 5-cent coin also adds a layer of historical curiosity. During the years 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint deliberately removed mint marks to discourage speculative hoarding. This decision shows how deeply the government was concerned about coin circulation and public behavior. The 1965 nickel, therefore, is not just a piece of metal but a symbol of policy decisions aimed at stabilizing the economy and ensuring that everyday commerce could continue smoothly. In the modern numismatic market, the 1965 5-cent coin is often included in beginner collections because it is affordable and historically educational. Many collectors first encounter this coin while building date sets of Jefferson nickels or exploring coins from the 1960s. Its accessibility makes it an excellent teaching coin, helping new collectors understand grading, metal composition, and historical context without requiring a large financial investment. Even though the 1965 5-cent coin is not rare, its true value lies in its story. It represents a moment when the United States adapted to economic challenges while maintaining trust in its currency. Coins like this remind us that history is not only preserved in rare and expensive artifacts but also in common objects that once passed through everyday hands. The 1965 Jefferson nickel stands as a quiet yet powerful reminder of how ordinary coins can reflect extraordinary times. Looking even deeper, the 1965 5-cent coin also reflects the psychology of trust between the government and the public. During the 1960s, many Americans were suspicious of changes to money, especially after silver was removed from other coins. The fact that the 5-cent coin continued with the same look, weight, and feel helped maintain public confidence. People could use the 1965 nickel without questioning its worth, which was exactly what the government intended. This quiet continuity made the coin an unspoken stabilizer in a time when financial systems were under stress. Another fascinating point is how the 1965 Jefferson nickel fits into long-term coin design history. The Jefferson Monticello design lasted for decades with only minor adjustments, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. By 1965, the design had already become deeply familiar to the public. This familiarity reduced resistance to monetary change, as people often accept economic reforms more easily when visual symbols remain the same. In this way, the 1965 5-cent coin demonstrates how design consistency can support economic policy. From a technical minting perspective, 1965 was a high-pressure year for the U.S. Mint. Massive production was required to overcome the coin shortage, and speed often took priority over perfect strike quality. This is why many 1965 nickels show softer details, light dye wear, or minor surface marks. For collectors, this makes sharply struck examples more interesting, as they represent coins that survived a fast-paced production environment with above-average quality. The 1965 5-cent coin also holds generational value. Many people today associate this coin with childhood memories, buying candy, making phone calls, or using arcade machines. Such emotional connections add a form of cultural value that goes beyond price. Even if the coin is worth only face value, it carries personal history for millions of individuals who grew up during that era. In educational collections and museums, the 1965 Jefferson nickel is often used to explain the difference between intrinsic value and face value. Since the coin contains no precious metal, its worth comes entirely from government backing rather than material content. This makes it a perfect example for teaching modern monetary concepts and how fiat-based coinage works in everyday life. When viewed as part of a complete Jefferson nickel series, the 1965 5-cent coin acts as a bridge between earlier mid-century issues and later modern strikes. It connects pre-1965 American coin traditions with a new era of cost-effective, mass-produced currency. For serious numismatists, this transitional role gives the coin importance even without rarity or high market value. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Value for more historical coin stories.